Episode 11, Ninjago.
Hello, Justin here with Between the Studs, and I have a plethora of studs with me today, and I think if we added all their ages together, I would still be older, but that's okay. We have a lot of young, new faces here. Let's introduce them all. We have Jacob.
Hi.
He works in the front mostly. He's also a huge Ninjago fan. We have John, the mock master, and we have Emily, who does a lot of our inventorying, and she's also a minifig mistress, I would say. So we are here, I think it's obvious, to discuss Ninjago. Celebrating its 10th anniversary coming up. We have our 10th anniversary, what we could get our hands on anyway. 10th anniversary figures here. Do they call those legacy figures?
It's kind of just an ode to all the seasons because they're all in different season outfits.
10 years Ninjago. Okay, we'll just go down the line this way. What attracts you to Ninjago? Why do you like it so much? Why is it the theme?
I think the characters are very relatable. They have different personalities, and everybody can kind of attach to one of them.
For you, it's all about the characters and each character, almost like the Ninja Turtle syndrome.
Yeah,
definitely. Each turtle has a very specific personality, and you can kind of relate to them. And then with the ninjas, it's kind of the same in that regard. How about you?
Well, I kind of grew up with it. I remember watching the first two seasons, pilot season and everything when I was a kid. And that attachment from those few seasons has kind of led me to keep going with it. Even though I'm older now, I still really enjoy it because I have the connection from when I was a kid. Also, the sets are amazingly built. Techniques are amazing.
They're just getting better and better.
Like the sets behind us are just so good.
Oh, yes.
And
we'll bring those out.
You kind of lose all the money in your bank account because of it, but it's well worth it.
Yeah. Well, that's the horror and joy of collecting stuff.
It tends to be how it is.
How about you?
Initially, it was my way to bond with my nephews. They loved the show, so anytime I would visit them or they would come over, they'd be watching it. And at first, admittedly, I didn't pay it much mind, but eventually I came to actually sit down and watch it with them and realized that for something that's supposed to be a children's show, it actually has a surprising amount of depth to it, especially as the seasons go on. Honestly, I haven't actually been a fan for very long, but as soon as I really started thinking about it, I admittedly fell hard.
I just recently started watching it with my kids. I collected the sets because they were just cool looking. I never watched the show. I didn't know anything about it. The first Ninjago anything I saw was the movie. I just collected the sets because they were neat looking. I was a fan of Kung Fu movies, and so it was a way to get Asian buildings. I remember the old ninja theme from back in the day, and this kind of filled that need for me to get those sets. And so it wasn't until much later that I started watching the show, like, this is actually pretty good. And kind of like what you were saying, they strike such a good balance of being kiddie enough, being approachable, but not being insultingly stupid like Chima was.
Yeah. And Nexonites. Don't forget Nexonites.
And Nexonites.
Don't forget Nexonites.
To me, Chima was 10 times worse. But they sprinkle in this deep mythology. They don't go too deep. They kind of gloss over it. They give you enough to understand, and then bam, they go with it.
And the other storyline.
Yes.
Enough to keep you intrigued, interested.
Yeah, I think it has a lot of heart. Really speaks to the connection between brothers, of father and son, what it means to be a family.
It hits on so many levels. It's so good. It's so good. Yeah, it's deep. It's deep. I think
I'm gonna cry.
One day someone's gonna do a thesis on Ninjago. I'm sure. Someone's gonna hit a thesis.
What'd you do your college thesis on Ninjago?
Ninjago. Well, seriously,
it strikes a lot of the same chords as Star Wars did with fans.
Are we saying Ninjago's better than Star Wars? Well, it's definitely better than the 3 that they recently made. But
yeah, that's true. I didn't say that. I just said that I think it shares a lot of.
Were you just before we start? Yes, I agree. I think you were drawing some parallels to Star Wars. Yes, before we started recording.
Revelations have been made.
Yes, I said that Lloyd is basically the Luke Skywalker of Ninjago. His father is the villain.
He's
and
whiny?
He's whiny and blonde.
Wasn't
Yes.
always bad.
And-
Got turned to the dark side.
Yep.
Yeah, got almost,
He is the
almost
chosen
got
one.
turned to the dark side. He
Sacrifices himself.
is, even though technically speaking,
Wait a
Anakin
second.
was the chosen one, not Luke.
Yeah.
But still, Lloyd saved his father just like Luke saved his.
I think almost every form of media lives in the Star Wars vacuum.
Exactly. I think really, I
Star
think
Wars-
it did make it set a bar that like
Yeah.
I think everything strives to.
Yeah.
Star Wars
to, I
is
think.
the guidelines for anything nowadays.
Well,
Except
it's
for
always
news.
been, even back in the 80s. So,
Yeah.
like, all cartoons, TV shows kind of just tried to be the next Star Wars. So,
Also, all emotional depth aside, it also has giant snakes and dragons. So
Yes,
I was
which is-
also very drawn to that.
you said that was the thing that really got you into it, were the dragons. You brought a lot of yours,
Yes,
and we're
I
going to
did.
pull those out in a second. Do you guys have a favorite character?
Oh, Jay.
Jay. Why Jay?
Stupid humor.
Stupid humor.
I'm a sucker for stupid humor, I must say.
How about you guys?
I think Kai, I like him because he's a little bit different than the other characters. He has more of a connection with Wu than the others, I think. Wu being related to his parents a little bit.
We will talk about the show
yes.
a little bit because, of course, the story drives the sets and the minifigures. So, spoilers alert abound. Spoilers if you don't want to spoil the show. Then you probably should turn this off, go watch the show, and then come back and watch us.
That's like 14 seasons, though. It's going to be forever before they watch this.
Hey, we'll be here. It's the internet.
We're not going
We'll
anywhere.
still be here for them. I have not finished the show. I'm watching it with my kids. We're in the middle of Skybound. Was that season 4?
Season 7.
Season 6.
6? Wow.
We were all wrong.
Thank you for being here and correcting us. Jeez, I had no idea. So what were you saying? So you like Kai. It's the fire guy, so he's the hothead.
Exactly.
So do you feel like you have a lot of inner passion and rage?
Do you
I don't
relate?
think I do. Kai's like kind of the original ninja. I know that's kind of controversial, but like he was there from the beginning, and I don't know. I just kind of
He was,
connected with him.
He's how the whole series started.
Yeah.
Because it started out at him and Nia's
Yeah.
blacksmith shop.
so how about you? Do you have a ninja you connect with?
For me, it's a tie between Nia and Lloyd for different reasons. Lloyd for his family struggles, and obviously they had a lot of character development for him because he's the Green Ninja and main character now basically. Yeah. But I didn't like him at first, and honestly, I think they've made some questionable choices now. But I think just overall, I can relate with his struggles. But also Nia, she's probably overall the one I actually relate to most in some ways. She actually reminds me of my sister
In a good way.
in a good way, in the
Okay.
best way. No, she's a very strong female character. I can
Yeah.
appreciate that. Water's always been my favorite element. I see a lot of both of me and my sister in her.
I like Jay. That's why I'm wearing blue today, because I'm a Jay guy, stupid humor. And
Why am I wearing
lightning,
yellow.
is it because you're the banana ninja? I like Jay, and lightning is a element you don't see. Elemental powers is something you see a lot in a lot of shows. Avatar: The Last Airbender
Yeah,
and all
exactly
those.
what I was going to say.
But lightning isn't one you see too much. Of course, the Firebenders had lightning as an advanced
It was
technique.
a rare power
Yeah.
gift that only some could do. Not
The
others.
highest level masters could obtain. Did you guys come into Ninjago from the beginning? I know you said you did not. You came later. How about you guys?
I think I came in about the Snake series, but I remember watching the original pilot with the skeletons. And then after that, I watched it for a bit, and then I kind of dropped off because I was like, I'm older now. I don't need to watch this, whatever.
I'm too
And
cool
then-
for Ninjago.
I just came on Netflix, and I was just like, yeah, I'll watch it. And I binged the entire thing. I'm just like, it's so good.
It's good. For a show aimed at younger children, it's really good. It's very
Very
multi-layered.
watchable,
like
too.
you said. It
So-
is. Oh, yeah, because you can go back and realize, oh, I see what they did
you notice the
there.
little details that
It's
they'll
all
add in.
interwoven.
Yeah.
It's like the
It's
Marvel
crazy.
MCU all over again.
Yeah.
But the Lego version of it.
How about you?
Well, I used to watch Cartoon Network a lot, and I'd see these commercials for a new show coming out. When it was premiere day, my family sat down and we watched the pilot episodes on TV for the first time.
You guys
We
all
loved
watched it together?
Yeah, we loved it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So that's how it started.
So you started from the very beginning.
Yeah,
you're,
very
you're
beginning.
Original fan, the OG.
The sets
Kept
didn't come out
going.
until probably a month or two later.
Were you guys Lego fans before, or did Ninjago bring you into Lego, or?
I had been, playing with Legos for a while up until that point. I think the show aired in 2011.
Around the 10 years in 2020, so technically it was like 2010. So.
That's good math. You subtracted 10.
Yes!
Good job.
So
Yo, I can be an engineer.
That's right. And then this is your minifig collection, and you are boasting that you have nearly every ninja except for a couple, right?
Yeah, there's a few, but for the most part, they're there. I omitted like some of the air jutsu and like spinjitzu burst stuff.
Okay,
Like,
the
you know, those
regular
packs.
normal ninja that
Yeah.
appeared in the show.
Mhm.
And you're not counting, like on Bricklink, they'll give a whole new minifig number if all that's different is that they have their hair instead of their hood.
Oh yeah.
But everything else is the same. So we're not counting that. We're counting just different costumes. And you have almost every single one they've ever made, but a couple. That's awesome. Is there any significant ones you remember that you would point out that you're missing?
They're mainly over there.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the new ones I don't have yet.
You said they never made a
They never made
Digi-Zane.
a Digi-Zane, yeah.
And you didn't get the legacy ones because
Why didn't he? Just didn't appear in Digiform in the show?
Yeah.
you never did.
And then some of the
I just
earlier
realized
ninjas,
this.
you know,
Yeah, we
Lloyd
didn't-
isn't a ninja yet.
I can
never
tell
made
you
a
why
figure,
he
though. They
doesn't
could've-
make. They didn't make a figure for him.
Yeah.
He was technically in the season that was in the Prime Empire season. He never actually went into the game, so he never had that outfit. He wore. He was always on the other side.
Yeah.
Okay. So why'd they make the pink ninja as a costume change? Just
So
as a
that
ode to
was
the
so
fans?
that set was an avatar set because like in the game you could use money from the game that you get through challenges and use it to buy new skins. So that's why if you've seen the season when they get there and Jay's already in there, he's in a different outfit because he got so good at the game that he could just buy whatever he wanted.
Because Jay is the video
So-
game guy.
But it was
Yeah.
an ode to the season one when his
Wait,
clothes
wait.
got washed with
Yeah.
red and it
Yeah.
turned pink.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love how it took like 8
Such a good
years for them to
episode.
finally make
I know.
that.
Oh, it was a glorious
They
day
go-
when they revealed
Yes.
it, though.
Yeah.
It was like,
That was
hallelujah.
awesome.
Yeah, it was a prank by Lloyd. 'Cause,
Yeah.
Yeah. He was trying to be evil, and it just ended
Yeah,
up
in
being
his own little-
childish.
Man, why should we
Like,
be
yeah.
afraid of you? You're pink.
Best season for you guys.
I like season 4, mostly because of all the elemental masters. The season is kind of quirky. It's not taken, in my opinion, too seriously. But I just enjoy seeing all the elements used in one season in like sort of a battle arena tournament kind of thing.
Yeah.
I just found that interesting as a kid, and it's kind of kept with me over the years. Even though there are good seasons after that, I must admit, after season 8, actually at season 8 and upwards, it just gets so good.
Okay.
Season 8 and 9 are technically.
I felt like that was the first season. I mean, there were sprinkles of history earlier, but that season, the Tournament of Elements, is where they really hit that there was this huge history.
Yeah.
I remember they got kind of mad at Wu. It's like, wait a minute, there's other elemental masters?
Yeah.
You didn't tell us about this? And so that was kind of cool. And did you guys notice that 2 of the elemental masters were from other licensed things?
Yeah.
Yes.
Or not licensed
The
things.
Invisible Man was from Ultra Agents,
Mm-hmm.
and then also I forget what the Poison Girl's name was.
She was from Ultra Agents.
She's
as well.
also from Ultra
Yeah.
Agents.
Yeah. Which is a really cool figure, and they were exactly like they looked in the Ultra
cool.
Agents. So it is like the MCU. They're all
I know.
connected.
All the
They're all
things.
connected.
But we can't forget the one best part of season 4, Master Chin's Noodle House. It's the best part of the entire show.
He was such an over the top character too. Like to be the main antagonist,
Yeah.
he was like it was so crazy. It was
He
more like
he was
Klaus
a
was the
crazy,
real
chaotic evil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was
Yeah.
fun to watch.
It was.
He was like Skeletor and the Joker.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to laugh at Skeletor.
Yeah, yeah.
Mentality.
But then Klaus was really the scary
Yeah.
guy you had to
He's
watch
the
out
one
for.
who might have been pulling all the strings. but-
Yeah, because
We
he's
might
the
have to
only
have-
one- he's also the only one that survived the Cursed Realm's destruction. So that
Yeah, he did.
like it's
He did make it
interesting.
out.
And there, I
And then
watched.
spawn a genie.
I watched a bunch of Here's the History of Ninjago videos, some short ones that connect it all together. And they do mention how there are inconsistencies that are kind of glossed over. Because of course, you're writing from season to season. You don't have the whole thing mapped out. I think they might have had a loose plan mapped out. But then
kinda
they get
come
to
up
this
with it
one
on the
part
fly.
and like, oh, it'd be cool if this happened. And that kind of rewrites what we'll ignore that.
We'll just do a season later on where
Yeah.
it changes the past.
What do you guys think are the biggest? Are there any glaring inconsistencies or stuff that they kind of glossed over that didn't match up if you watched it again?
I mean, some of the ones I can think of kind of come after the whole Ninjago movie thing.
Yeah, well,
But that's a whole nother
at
topic.
season
Okay.
11,
The
yeah,
changes-
after
yeah.
season 10, that was the end of the main Ninjago series, really. Then they kind of rebooted it with new writers and new animation based on the movie. from season 11 onwards.
They changed the writers too?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. Did any of them stay?
I don't think so.
Huh. But they changed a couple of the voice actors. Like Lloyd changed at some point, right?
Lloyd had to change
Yeah.
because he kind of went through puberty.
I thought that was really weird.
Yes.
Okay, so some of this stuff has been spoiled for me because I know the sets.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I know, like, okay, this happens and this happens. I don't know how it happens, but I know just because I've seen the set. I thought in season 3, when he ages,
That was
It
two.
wasn't season 2,
Two?
it was 2, yeah.
when he artificially ages, because it's a woman doing his voice. It's pretty obvious. It's a woman doing his
It's
voice.
Ash Ketchum all over again from Pokemon.
And Gohan and a bunch of other people. I mean, it's the voice actress that does Gohan and a bunch of. She's done a lot of work. When he ages up, I thought they would change his voice, and when they kept the same voice actress, it took me a while to get used to.
It was to show that even though Lloyd aged up, he was still the same child that they had known. He hadn't yet matured yet.
Yeah, it was just an odd thing, like his body aged, but he.
Nice when they changed the voice actor.
Okay, so before we get to the movie, because that'll be another thing, what do you guys think is the best villain of the show? Chen?
No.
For you, no?
Obviously not. Are we going for like most evil or just
No. The villain,
best?
it can be the best, the one that resonates with you. I mean, obviously,
You have
I
an
think
opinion already. You
Garmadon.
might as
Yeah,
well
I was
share.
gonna say, I mean, Garmadon, obviously, but
Well-
as far as like side villains, though, I found Morrow interesting.
Did you like that? Was that your favorite season? I forgot to ask you.
Yes, I would say overall, I really liked 8 and 9. I mean, those are known to be probably the best seasons because they're dark, they're intense. Like the story is really like serious, but I enjoyed 5.
And another unusual thing they did is
Just so different.
Yeah, I mean, usually when you have ghost characters, they're like this one-off thing, or they work for the main wizard or something. But to have the main antagonist a ghost and his whole army are ghosts, that was just something you don't see very often.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really
It's
cool
unique.
thing. And that's what's neat about the show in general is that anything can happen. And this is a pirate genie. Yeah, okay.
And it was
amazing.
It was also my favorite iteration of the theme song.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't even realize it changed that much. So
Yeah,
every
oh,
season.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely
okay.
has a different tempo, and the way in season 5,
extra percussion.
it was really different.
Would-
Like it was slow, like they slowed it down a lot.
I would
and then,
match
like,
the tone.
had an eerie quality to it to match with the ghost theme. It was
Yeah, I remember that intro very vividly, and it being a lot different.
Anyone
Yeah.
want to sing it for us?
I don't know about that one.
Okay, that's all I got.
So did you guys think of a favorite season or villain for you guys?
Villain, if we're going off of, in my opinion, the most psychologically evil would be Harumi, but you haven't gotten there yet, so I kind of don't want to spoil
Harumi
it because
was
it's so
Harumi was
good.
interesting. That's true. I liked her.
And she goes through 2 seasons, so her arc gets even better.
I heard that the season with Harumi was basically
8 and 9.
it was one season just split into 2 because the arc
It was
continued.
it was a very, very well thought out, written
It
seasons. It was so. I rewatched it multiple times.
I can't wait to get to it. How
I
about
didn't have a
you?
lot of time.
Probably the same as Emily, actually. I liked season 5 and Moro as a villain. I think he's very interesting because he actually has some personal connection to Wu. I mean, he was his first trainee because they kind of go through his whole life. It's kind of sad and it's kind of just really dark for Ninjago.
And
It's
he,
different.
I mean,
part at the
they
end.
did it so well, but
Yeah.
he died looking for the first Spinjitzu Master's tomb, and that's how he became a ghost, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they just show it again, like they're so good, the writers. They do it just all visually, like, oh, that's a skeleton. Oh, and you got to put it together yourself. And kids who are too young to understand that don't have to put it together, but it's there for the older kids and the adults to put together. It's so
And
good.
I found his arc, and it was tragic because it's not like he had to sacrifice himself for any particular reason. He basically just realized that he almost didn't think he was like worthy of the redemption that Wu was offering after everything, and so he actually refused it. I found that an interesting parallel to, like, say, Garmadon pre-death and resurrection as, the Emperor of Evil. Before that, how Garmadon accepted, the redemption that that Lloyd offered, and that. So I thought that was interesting, though, that they subverted that with Morrow. He was willing to accept. He had made his bed, and he was willing to lie in it.
He was gonna go ahead and
So
rot in it.
yeah.
I'm telling you, you guys were laughing when I said that. Someone can do a thesis on this show.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Probably
Oh, I was laughing because I knew it was true. I just thought it was funny.
I haven't been that far into it, but I think I do like I would agree with you guys that probably Morrow, just because of the uniqueness of having a ghost with like a soul and a backstory and stuff. And they went for a spooky ghost horror, kind of, in some, especially when they entered that the old decrepit Temple of Air Jitsu. It turned into a total horror story. Actually, I wanted to mention that.
I will agree with John though that Harumi is pretty awesome too.
Okay, she's just a cool character.
She is, and she has a really she does have a really interesting backstory.
Her backstory, in my opinion,
I just haven't watched that season
reminds
in a while
me of a
now.
certain
I have to get back to
MCU
it.
character. She reminds me of Wanda Maximoff. Story-wise, if you think about it. But I'm not going to go into it because you haven't seen the season, so, I kind of don't want to spoil anything.
One thing I noticed from the beginning of that show is the cinematic quality. Even back to season 1, they would do these crazy angles and action scenes and all this stuff, and with this little cute chubby minifigure.
The cameramen were insane.
Yeah. They did such a good job of doing those big action scenes, and then every episode built toward the main villain. And man, at least as far as I am, season 5,
it gets you hyped.
The main villain, it's an epic, like, end of the world battle. Every single season.
It's like
how do you do that?
This is an Avengers level threat.
Yes, but still maintaining the Lego style humor and
it kept the playfulness of it all, and didn't get like too. Actually, it does get kind of serious in some of the seasons, but
for a kids show.
For a kids show, they do a good job of making it like clearly distinct good versus evil at the end, like. It's everything's on the line kind of thing.
No wonder it's lasted 10 years and it's still going strong.
Well, actually, we could say that it was about to go away after the second season. Lego was gonna, I think, cancel it after Garmadon was like saved and everything was back to his normal human state.
Yeah.
But the backlash was high that people wanted to keep it going.
Yeah.
That Lego was like, well, I guess we'll keep going and. Honestly, that was probably the best decision they ever could have made.
And I will say, so one thing Ninjago has up on Star Wars is that with Star Wars, the story was supposed to end with the, the redemption of the main villain, by his son. But Ninjago succeeded where Star Wars failed in actually following that up with
good content.
I heard
we're just burning Star Wars in this.
Just up to 14. But if you look at it just from a story structure, take away Lego, take away nostalgia, it's better than Star Wars. I mean, you have 9 movies plus. Clone Wars is an exception.
There's 2 off Star Wars story movies,
but just the 9 movies. I think. I'm sorry, Star Wars fans, but you can't really argue against that.
Especially since the prequels are so divisive between love and hate, and pretty much nobody likes the sequels. Pretty much nobody likes the sequels.
Yeah.
The original trilogy and Clone Wars are probably the only consistently things that people love usually.
Before we get to the movie, let's bring it back to why we're here, Lego. What do you guys feel about the sets they chose to produce up into the movie? Do you think it represented the correct scenes? Were they the actions you wanted to see in physical toy form?
I think it shouldn't have taken them so long to come out with Overlord Dragon.
Okay, yes.
That took way too long, and I think I like the set, but admittedly I'm slightly disappointed that it's not a little bit more detailed than it is. It is from season 2, and so it almost feels like a season 2 set.
They could easily come out with a bigger, more detailed dragon for maybe 100, 150 of that thing, and people would buy it, no doubt. They don't have to come out with some small $20 or $30 set.
Speaking of the price, Ninjago has always knocked it out of the park with price per part. They've always been really affordable sets for what you got.
They didn't have licensing to pay for as well, because it's their own license. They should have made a Borg Tower UCS set, and it was actually rumored a few years ago that they would make one, but it was wrong. So they still haven't made one, and they should, because I honestly think that'd be a good one, because it does show up in many seasons.
Yeah, they go back.
So it's not like it's not recognizable or anything.
Okay.
But I feel like I might just think it would be a bit too basic for a set of that scale.
Yeah, it's just a bit.
But I think it would be a good set in the future. I think people would like it.
I think they've done a pretty good job of including most of the main scenes and stuff. Obviously, you could probably find some little things, but overall,
But you personally, there's not one like, oh, they never made this minifigure, or they never made this scene.
The
or this
Fuchsia
vehicle.
Ninja. They need to make the Fuchsia Ninja. The Lego Ninjago. He shows up in like a split second, and it's very good. But they never made him. They could have made like a polybag or something, like a promotional item. But they never did.
I don't remember.
Your favorite sets from pre-movie Ninjago, pre-Legacy, pre-movie. Favorite
Most
ones.
of my favorite sets are from the movie, though.
The movie definitely amped it up to the next degree.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
We do have the Great Devourer.
Yes.
The only time she has appeared in Lego form, of course, undersized because it came with a temple and a vehicle too,
And the Ultra Dragon.
and the Ultra Dragon, so they had
The
to
original.
undersize it.
Incidentally, it was also the first appearance of Lloyd in a set.
Really?
The Epic Dragon Battle? Yeah, that was the first
Any
time
Lloyd?
Yes. That was the
Okay.
first time Lloyd was appeared.
It was the
that
first
he
time in
appeared
his
as minifigure.
teenager form.
Yeah.
'Cause I
Okay.
think he had appeared in his small little school uniform, black
yeah.
outfit, cape.
This little
Yeah.
Lloyd.
His
Emperor
little
Palpatine
Garmadon.
outfit.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
Emperor Palpatine outfit, exactly.
It's got a rock piece for the lower jaw.
Yes.
That works out pretty well,
They did
actually.
have some interesting part usage back then.
Yeah.
It's
So-
a lot more
I
crazy now.
didn't. I mean, I can get into the Great Devourer, but I figured we weren't quite there
Also,
yet.
I have a set that I've never owned this set, but it was one that I wanted so badly. It was Cole's Rock Dragon from
Oh, yeah.
season 1 or 2.
Mhm.
That set is so pricey now, so I'm probably never going to get it, but I wanted it so bad when I was a kid because I thought it was the coolest thing, but I was broke because I didn't have a job, and I was also like probably 10 or 9, so yeah, that would probably be my favorite set from pre-movie era.
That's a good set. It's because it's different than the other dragons.
Yes, it's a lot more bulkier, not skinny. It had a different head mold piece for it, which was very unique. Probably why it's so expensive now. We're forgetting one highlight one, the Temple of Air Jitsu. What are we? That was pre-movie
I was
era.
getting to that. Yeah, that one is so good.
Yeah.
I love that set.
I have that one. That's one of the few big Ninjago sets I have.
I think the Temple of Air Jitsu was like the first big, like over
Yeah.
$200
It
set
was,
that they
yes.
did. And it kind of showed the potential of what Ninjago could be and what it is now, of what they can do detail-wise.
Yeah.
And like seeing that set, no one I think would have expected Lego to come out with a set that big for a theme that they made, because normally they don't do that, except for Monkey Kid. It was definitely a shock in my opinion, but it was a welcome one because everyone
it was
loved
great.
that set.
Yeah.
I remember when it was out in stores, I never bought it because again I had no money.
And that leads into what I was going to say. Another great thing about this theme is that because anything can happen, anything can be a set. So you can have a huge Asian-looking temple, and you may be able to just take off a couple pieces and bam, it looks just like an Asian temple. It doesn't have to be a Ninjago thing. You don't have to change it that much. Take the antenna off the top, bam. It's a 400-year-old monastery or a temple or whatever. You can have vehicles, and you can have dragons and giant snakes, and it all fits together. You can have future robots versus skeleton army.
All of it.
Anything
All of
can
it.
happen, and it all makes sense within the cohesion of the show.
Well, the technical part of it wasn't really there until after Cyrus Borg came around. And
correct, but there was still a city. There was a modern
it was
city.
only one season though. It's not like they
I
didn't
didn't
have
really
it for
actually
long.
like that season that much, to be honest with you.
The Ninjroid one?
Yeah, the Ninjaroid season.
It was very like
felt very disjointed.
you're
from
here,
the
then
rest
you're
of
there,
it.
you're here, then you're there. It's still entertaining. The best part of that season is the end of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Insane sacrifice and stuff. It's so emotional.
That part was good.
Gets me every
That
time.
was.
Major spoiler.
Hey, I'm assuming people have
I'm just
seen
saying,
season.
It's
what,
10
3?
years now. It's
So,
9 years old.
It's your fault if you haven't seen it. Just saying.
Okay, so we can go in the movie now. Controversy with it.
Hallelujah.
This was, to put a little context, because I think anyone watching this would know already, but just to get your heads back to where it
think we
was,
should-
back to 2 or 3 years ago. Was
I
it?
think it was 2017. Yeah.
So
3,
it was
4
riding
years.
on the success of the Lego movie.
It came out
Was it
after
Batman?
the Batman movie. Yes,
Okay, so it was the third one. They created this brand, this style with the Lego movie, and they continued it with Batman. I felt like Batman was really good.
Oh, I
know
loved
some
Lego
people.
Batman.
Yeah.
I watched
Yeah.
that on the plane. It was hilarious.
It was very funny.
And then they moved to Lego Ninjago, and a lot of people immediately were worried. Just seeing the trailers, because they didn't do everything brick built anymore. Backgrounds and water were actual, like made of rock and stuff. And some people say, oh, it's going to look like the show. They're bridging the show. And some people are like, no, this was rushed out, and it takes too long to animate that. so this is going to be a worse movie before they even walked into it. What did you guys think?
The reason behind the greenery and the water was because it was supposed to be set as, like, a kid was playing with their Legos in their backyard, which is why there was a cat in there at one point, because I sure added to the story a bit, but it was like, yeah, your cat gets into your Lego and will destroy it sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was supposed to be set outside as if the kid was playing outside.
Got it. Okay.
So
it makes sense in the cohesion of the story and everything.
so boom.
Okay. So bam, you haters,
Take that.
What did you guys think of the movie? So let's ask them first, since they were fans ahead.
Okay.
And then the movie came out.
So yeah,
What was
I
the
watched
shock
the show,
night?
then the movie.
Okay.
I had watched the show before the movie, and I was actually very excited for the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And when I went to go see it in the theater the first time, I was kind of iffy on it. And I went a second time, and I loved it even more. And then I bought it on DVD when it came out and everything. I loved the movie. I liked the quirkiness of it, the humor. I loved how Jackie Chan was in there, and Jackie Chan did like the choreography for all the ninja.
Yeah.
But a lot of people like who hated it were just like, yeah, it's basically as if you told Jackie Chan that they're the colored ninjas, and he just created his own world, and that's basically what it was. I mean, sure, it's definitely way different, but I think it's good. It's definitely not meant to be a part of the Ninjago universe from the show. It's its own off thing, and it's good because of that.
I think your interpretation of it, or maybe it sounds like this is the official interpretation. Mm-hmm. Interpretations can't be official, but you know what I mean.
I like the movie enough to where I did my Lego mock name after it. Ninja Nerd is my name, JS Ninja Nerd, and that's a joke from the movie where he's like, "Where are your little ninja nerds? Ninja nerds." Nailed it. And he's just as, and I thought that was the funniest thing. And I was just like, what am I gonna name myself when I start making mocks? I'm just like, oh, Ninja Nerd, yeah, of course.
Ninja Nerd. But I like your interpretation of it, where it's someone watches the show, someone buys the Lego, and then plays with it, and so the movie is just in their heads, and that explains why things are different. Though I think where I could poke holes in that theory is if you've watched the show, then wouldn't the voices you play with in your head be the same from the show?
Well, it depends on how deep you play. Like, what is your place?
Oh, when I play deep.
Man, I come up with characters. They all have different voice actors. It's
I'm
insane.
in there. Someone has to shake me to get out of my play.
So my family and I went to see it, right? And we knew it was going to be a little bit different, so we had high hopes for this. We watched it, and I liked it, but after watching it, I really wanted it to be a part of the whole other storyline. So it was kind of a little bit jarring. But I'm not saying I don't like the movie. Mm-hmm. It was a good movie. And it was hilarious. I loved the humor, like you. It was great. But, like, some part of me wanted that movie to be interwoven with the season so bad.
We had a discussion about this. They could have made it a standalone movie that was like a shortened season. But I understand from their perspective, they wanted to retell the story, get new fans in it, reintroduce some of the characters, and then change it to match the style. I like your interpretation where it's like, oh, this explains away why it's different because it's a kid playing with it, and Jackie Chan, for some reason, have this wooden carved minifigure of Sensei Wu. And I don't understand why Hollywood always feels they have to do that. I guess their charts say they have to.
Them and remakes.
I did not see the Lego Ninjago movie because Jackie Chan was in it. I'm a huge Jackie Chan fan. I've seen probably 75% of all his work, which is impressive if you guys didn't know.
He has a lot of work.
He's done so much.
Broken a lot of bones.
But I love the man. I love his work. But I didn't see the movie because he was in it. I couldn't care less. I saw the movie because it was a Lego movie. It was a Ninjago movie. Yeah. So that did not draw me in. And I think Hollywood always thinks they have to have named people. And we have to have names people recognize because that'll draw people. Who does that? Who sees a movie? I mean, I guess back in the day, older people used to, like my parents' generation, used to say, let's go see this Humphrey Bogart movie. Yeah. I'm just kidding. My parents aren't that old. But this Humphrey Bogart movie because they always see. But that doesn't really exist anymore. I don't think. Do you guys feel like you see movies, with the exception of Jackie Chan?
Yeah,
I will see.
There's a Disney Pixar movie called Onward that I went to go see solely because of the actors. So
really, so it does happen. You're the problem.
What you? It had Chris Pratt and Tom Holland. I was just like, it's probably gonna be pretty funny.
I will say that am initially sometimes drawn not so much to movies but to TV shows. Like I'll specifically, like, if I like a certain actor, I'll look up and see what else they're in. And
Oh, and just
like,
see that, just because
just
I
for
like
that. But it's not to say that I watch everything that they're in because of them. Like I have to like what what I'm watching, so I end up liking it for the show or the movie itself. But it definitely plays a part in luring you into checking it out.
They do this with anime all the time. Now, of course, I know that the expense is a huge purpose why they try to draw in more audience, because American movies are infinitely more expensive than any other movie in the world. But they do this in anime where they will have a standalone movie that happens in between seasons. It was like this side adventure that they did, and sometimes it doesn't match with the continuity, but it's like it's like a little side adventure,
still there
alternate
to
reality.
Keep the fans into it.
But they totally sell the movie on the popularity of the show.
Yeah.
And they don't even try to bring it. Like, if you don't watch Dragon Ball Z, you ain't gonna come see this movie. So I'm not even gonna try to put or change the voice of Goku to a big star to draw people in. They don't even try that. But again, I understand that part of the reason they do that in America is because the movies cost infinitely more. And they have to get their... They're not going to bank on the popularity of a TV show to pay for the cost of the movie.
Yeah. It obviously didn't work for Ninjago, though, because they still kind of just broke even.
How about you? Going to you, overall, what do you think? Now, you watched the TV show before.
Well, so correction, in a way, like at least in its entirety, I never actually watched the movie properly until after I'd already watched the show. But technically, because by the time I got in Ninjago, everything was already out. So
what did you think of the movie when you saw it? Was it a shock?
No, because especially since I hadn't seen the show yet. I mean, I loved the humor of the Lego movie, so I mean, I appreciated it. I thought it was funny. I didn't really know what was going on because I didn't know Ninjago, so I was very confused.
Everyone says Garmadon's the best part.
He is calling him Lloyd.
Another thing to disagree about in the Ninjago, is it pronounced Lloyd or Lloyd?
I still think it should be Lloyd. Like, I'm waiting for
Garmadon
to come back and call him Lloyd.
So now the show is under this pressure to all the fans that they could have gotten from the movie. They have to understand the show. The show has these, at that point, 8 years of lore and build-up and character development. Now we have to kind of soft reboot the show to match what kids saw in the movie. So you can see the dilemma.
They just changed the character design.
Okay.
And that was about it. They kept the same voice actors. Really, all they did to change it, they kept going with the storyline, because technically each season is a different storyline. But all they really did was just change the design of the characters. They changed the outfits to the headpiece that they used in the movie.
New hair pieces.
And then they've changed it multiple times since then. Because that's how it works. That's how they've always done it. They've always changed outfits, etc. per season. They really didn't change much.
Who was the biggest change, the biggest departure in the movie?
They say Jay is very different.
I felt like Jay was the one that was like...
Jay probably got
He was the kind of whiny, funny one, and he wasn't that at all in the movie.
More timid.
Yeah. Which is the opposite.
Which is completely the opposite of...
Yeah, it is.
I don't understand why they went in that direction, because...
I don't know. I think they completely parodied their personalities, but it's like Jay, they like completely like introverted.
Yeah, I guess they felt like there was enough humor. They didn't need a funny guy, because Garmadon was the funny guy, so they didn't need a guy on the team.
Humor kind of just happened between all of them when they were together.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like a collaborative effort. There wasn't just one serious person, one funny person. They were all just being themselves in the entirety.
Back to post-movie season. You said it wasn't that much of a reboot?
No, it was controversial because people liked the original animation.
Yeah, they changed the thing I like. I don't like when they change the
but
thing.
really, I mean, it's kept the spirit of the show overall. I mean, besides the changes with Jay.
Did they change the personalities at all to match the movie or not?
Like from the first few seasons to match the movie?
You felt you felt like they hyped Kai as the angry one.
Yeah.
A little
the
more
hot-headed
than he was.
I mean, they turned it up just a little bit for each.
I think they started exaggerating their quirks a little more. I would say
it's like it's a television show or something.
Yeah,
they have to keep developing. They can't stay the same the entire time.
Yeah.
I mean, they've changed so much from the first season, even before the reboot.
Because right after the movie was season 8 and 9, which if I didn't already say,
it was the best season.
Are
the best
two-part seasons, and it's very captivating.
It is
Captivating.
But then after the reboot, though, it had some great characters. One of my favorite, Akita, she's pretty cool.
Oh, that's the wolf girl, right? Yeah.
She turned into a wolf, yeah.
Again, I had the set. I have no idea who she is.
They actually did do an anime episode.
They did. That was
and they do that in Master of the Mountain as well.
Master of the Mountain was actually a really good season. Not only from like the sets are amazing, the Skull Sorcerer was cool. It was a surprisingly dark season, like really serious.
That was the one where it's the medieval theme. These guys,
the knights.
And I was like, dang! I was like, the bad guy made Cole his slave. I was like, what is?
Well, let me ask you this: we didn't even talk about this because right from the beginning, Ninjago had a gimmick. Not only was it a building block toy, but you had these spinners and flyers and everything else.
The spinjitzu.
They worked it into the show. Ninjago, which we're gonna do that in the parking lot later. See if it works.
Oh, okay.
Is it Ninjago or Ninjago?
They're saying Ninjago.
Let us know in the comments. No.
yeah.
No, Ninja. You guys
Is it
probably know this.
Ninjago or Ninjago?
No. It's Ninja. Go.
No, or is it Ninjago?
No, it's Ninja Go.
I agree with Justin. Wu says that.
Yeah, it's Ninjago. But then they call the city
so
Ninjago.
I've been told a lie my whole life.
Yes, the term Ninjago, they just sliced off. It's Ninja plus Lego. Ninjago, that's all it was.
And then they started making it a joke of Ninjago. Yeah.
But what do you guys think of the gimmick? Did you guys care about that as kids when you were buying it?
I mean, it was fun. I had a few fun to kind of play around with, but it was hard to get to work right. Oh, the spinjitzu is because you're supposed to battle like Beyblades and stuff. But
yes. I love Beyblades.
Chris was saying on our themes podcast that it was very hard to spin them.
It was.
And then
they didn't spin long.
Even if you spun, and then they came out with ones later that were zip cords, and they even angled them down so it would shoot them in a certain direction. But even then, they would miss.
Yeah,
there wasn't an arena.
Lego didn't have the quality of spinning tops that Beyblade had.
Those
tops are amazing. I have one that can spin for 3 minutes straight.
Yeah, when they made I think Hunted, the ones that fly. They weren't made for doing the whole battle thing. They were just made to fly, and you could just literally shoot it, and it would actually fly pretty far.
Fun.
That, I think, is when they hit peak. I never really bought them because, first of all, I didn't really like them. I wanted the set, like a dragon, for instance, or a vehicle. Those appealed to me more.
They had really crazy exclusive figures.
Yes, they did.
I like this one because he's a different color.
That was literally one of the only reasons why I would buy them now. Is because, first of all, it would come with a figure that came in a more expensive set, and if I just wanted the figure, I could just buy that for like $10.
They basically foregone the gimmick, the extra gimmick, except for this season where all the sets formed a board game.
Yes.
Now, was that included in the show at all? Did that ever appear in the show?
No.
But I think it was just a fun little add-on to add some more playability, because technically you could buy all the sets for that, or you could just buy the sets and play with them like how Lego sets should be played with. So it I guess provided more playability options.
I thought that was cool. It was an extra gimmick that, like you said, they didn't have to do. But it came with the extra spinner, which spinners hadn't appeared in a few years, right? Yeah, and this one was also the combat dice
it was
and
it was the dice spinner thing.
I'm sorry, no. They did have the battle packs with the spin and the one you hit.
Spinjitzu burst.
Yeah, so they didn't forego it, but it was just not included in major sets. It was like an extra on the side.
I must say, Spinjitzu burst was not a gimmick. It actually does appear in the show, but not anything like how they present it in the set. It is a thing that is incorporated into the show.
It is. Okay.
Yeah.
I have a question actually for you guys. Out of the sets that they have come out with, is there any element to it that you would want to see rebooted that they haven't?
Rebooted? Like a legacy. What legacy set?
For me, it would be the Great Devourer.
That's what I was.
Because she's so tied into the lore of the show.
But she never comes back, right?
No, surprisingly not. But from the past and even in the future after her death.
Okay, how about you guys? Legacy sets. What would be your standout?
They've made so many good ones already that I never would have expected them to make. If they
Overlord
remake
Overlord Dragon,
the Cole's Dragon,
But they-
I will buy that immediately because it's so much cheaper than whatever it is now.
Overlord Dragon is a new set, so they didn't. It's not like they had an original Overlord Dragon.
Yeah,
Before
but it's
that,
still
so-
considered legacy because it's going back.
It is, yeah. I just meant like specifically ones
A
that they had
redo.
already come out with, and then make a new version, like they did with Ultra Dragon.
The funny thing
For
is
me,
that came in the original
It
set
did.
with the Ultra Dragon, and then they
Exactly.
remade the Ultra Dragon, and they didn't include it, and they included skeletons, which is sort of like in season 2 they had the forehead, the Ultra Dragon.
Really, and the skeletons weren't even in it at that point, so it's like
I think they were in the race, whatever it was called.
yeah, they were in the race.
I think
that's
they were in
right,
that. I think that's the only spot that Lego could say like, yeah, they were together at that point. But
I would want a new Samokai. I mean, they've redone some of the other skeletons in a more modern head. They still have the big head, but now they can fit actual regular minifig helmets or some of them.
it could have been cost reasons or something.
I would have loved a new Samokai because he is such a cool figure. I think he only came in 2 sets.
Yeah.
So he's really expensive and hard to get, and he's so awesome. Any legacy sets or redos of sets that they haven't done yet?
They need to keep going with Ninjago City, though. We could say it is a legacy set because the most recent one was a legacy set because they went off the Ninjago movies and then they're just making the city.
I almost consider these like their own thing. It's
I
not
think they
in the
should,
movie. Now they're not in the movie.
Ninjago
they're
modulars.
not in. Yeah, that's basically what they are. I think I agree with you. I would love a very large, much more detailed, much more show accurate, Great Devourer
and like flexible with the new flexible like joints and
with a feature. The play feature can be the hood that
Yes!
spreads
Oh
out.
my
That
gosh,
would be
yes.
part of the feature.
Yeah, there's so much more room for differentiation because of how many parts they've created since then, how their building techniques have gotten in Lego, especially with Ninjago. They do so much better on Ninjago than anything else normally, other than like Creator Expert and everything. There's so much more opportunity and more room for opportunity to make it better since that was made in like 2012.
It does feel like go to their designers like, guys, this is Ninjago. Up your game. Come on. Well, let's talk about some sets then. Let's get some stuff down. Unless anyone else has anything to say about the show.
Not without going way too deep into the lore, which we're not supposed to do.
Yeah.
No spoilers here,
I
except
will
the
say-
spoilers we gave.
I will say this about the lore that I feel is kind of crazy how underrepresented it is the fact that Wu and Garmadon's dad is the god of creation.
He's actually basically he's actually a base. He's a nexus of creation and destruction, essentially.
Technically, Wu and Garmadon are like in their 170s, 80s. They're old.
They're
I thought it was way older than
They're
that.
over.
Garmadon did age
They're
better.
over
I'm just
1,000
saying.
years old.
It only looks like that because he has the beard.
Wu takes more after the dragon side of his father, and Garmadon takes after the Oni side.
It said the first Spinjitzu master, which is the only name we're ever given, he manifested 2 sons, is how it's explained.
Yes, basically.
They don't have a mother.
They had no mother.
So they are demigods.
Yes.
And that is so underplayed in the show. It's just like they don't even mention it or talk about it, which you'd think they would be nearly invincible in combat.
It'll probably come up in another season where it'll be more pivotal besides the Oni season, which was like 4 episodes. I think it'll come up again.
Does Netflix have all of it? Because it seems
Yes.
like I have not been able to find the pilot. Some of the shorts
pilot might not
I
be
couldn't
on it.
find.
Yeah, it covered
The pilot, I think, is its own separate hard drive thing on Netflix. So, like, it'll be all the seasons, and then the pilot will be by itself. And then they have some of the other ones. Like, Day of the Departed is by itself as a...
They are demigods essentially, but with Wu, basically he has the self-control that he restrains himself on purpose, probably. With Garmadon, I mean, first off, there was the whole corruption thing. He used his power
Full
more.
power,
his
yeah.
full power more.
Yeah, I'm thinking these 4...
But I think with him, it was actually that he never completely lost the ties to his humanity.
Yeah, because he still cared for his son. And
Yeah,
that kinda
until later
hindered his power.
and
What do you guys see in the future of the show? Can you guys predict anything?
Success.
Do you see them going in any certain direction?
I don't really think it's slowing down much.
Honestly,
to be honest.
I don't know. I just have learned just don't expect something. Just see what they come out with.
For
It
what it
honestly is really hard to predict because, okay, this
Who would've-
season they're fighting Islanders.
Who would've
In this
guessed?
season,
Yeah.
the sets, have you guys seen it? The sets have
Yes.
leaked for next, so they're underwater. It's like,
Oh
how
Yes,
are they
oh
gonna
my gosh,
do that?
the dragons are incredible. The sea dragons
Yes.
are so cool.
That's gonna be
looking.
really
I'm
nice.
excited
Okay,
about
going
those.
back to that, you're the dragon mistress.
Oh, yes.
Molded heads versus brick-built heads.
Brick built.
Definitely brick built. They're a lot more detailed and interesting,
The
and they're
molds-
more playable.
And
Play with
the
them.
molds, I mean, they look fine. They look good.
Yeah.
But I think it takes back from the, like,
Lego-ness.
if it looks real kind of thing. Because brick built heads, it looks natural on a brick built body. But if you, like, have a molded head, it just doesn't look right, in my opinion. I like
It
brick built stuff.
doesn't. It doesn't remind me of Lego as much. I mean,
Got it.
was made by Lego, but it just doesn't feel the same
Yeah.
as things that are made of actual like little Lego pieces.
You can get way more detail with that, and it looks a lot better if it's nailed. And Lego normally nails it.
Through the magic of editing, we're suddenly surrounded by dragons, and I love it. All of these are yours, right? Take us through. We have the Lloyd mech dragon from the Ninjago movie.
I love it because, I mean, first off, it has the new flexible joints. So the tail is one of the first times that they used this tail.
And they've used that a lot since.
Yeah,
So nice.
it actually waves like an actual tail. The headpiece is a molded headpiece rather than brick built, but it's still pretty cool.
And they didn't use this again, sadly.
No,
They've never used this again. It's a great Asian style
it is.
dragon.
Like, I love Chinese dragons, so it's really cool.
It's a good ode.
The whole thing is actually a robot.
Which I
But
felt
it
like-
almost feels like it still almost feels lifelike, like it's actually alive
Yeah.
in the movie, even though it's not.
Yeah,
So
I
thought
felt
that
like
was
you could leave
interesting.
some of the stickers off and take this off, and it would just be a
Yes.
dragon.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, pretty much. The stickers, you wouldn't be able to tell that it was a mech dragon if you hadn't seen the movie. And the entire dragon, like, I love that it has hidden features like that. Pretty much the entire dragon can launch parts of its body. Everything's explosive.
And we don't get a lot of sand green dragons. And the sand green
It's
and
a
gold.
it's a lot
Yeah.
of sand green parts, and a lot of people are happy about that because
Yeah, sand
people
green
who
is
do
really
mock
rare.
building with landscapes loved it. Although it didn't come with many plates, mostly just slopes. It's still good because you can also do like roofing and everything.
Yeah, so it has a lot of movable parts.
For-
It's like everything is detachable in the movie, so they did
And it
really
has
well
this-
with making it seem like it.
It had this weird feature where it's just these rubber
Yeah.
bumper pieces.
Yeah.
So he can, like, good boy, good boy.
Pretty much its whole back end,
They swim through the air.
they swim through the air, essentially.
That's
So they did
awesome.
a good job with showing that movement.
This guy.
The fusion dragon.
Ah, yes. So this is Kai and Nia's dragon fused together, fire and water,
From season 7, if you would like to know that much.
representing their bond as brother and sister. I love the transparent, the translucent blue and orange.
And this is an example of pretty minimal amount of
It is.
part usage, but getting a really good shape.
Yeah, they
on
did
these
really
heads.
good with.
one-
Yeah, at first I wasn't sure I'd like it because it did seem simpler than a lot of the other dragons.
There's one
but
thing that's
he's
funny
actually really cool.
is how they use the arms as the thing to move the mouth.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
funny thing is that it has a space that is just kind of weird, which they could have easily have done if they put like a slope back here or something,
Mhm.
or like a tile. But it's fine. I mean, that came in what it was a 1,200 piece set for
Yeah.
$80, so it was perfectly a-okay because
And I like this strip of the water coming across. And they don't really do that anywhere
Yeah,
else.
the,
It's pretty, it's pretty
the
divided.
detail, yeah, the,
The
fusion,
fusion.
is incredible, yeah. The way that, so yeah, it goes blue and then this tail is red and then it has the red
Yeah.
stripe that goes into the blue.
Should we do Morrow?
Yeah,
Yes.
let's do the Morrow Dragon, one of my personal favorites.
I am
Probably
like-
the
comes with a
coolest.
built-in crossbow,
He's the
which is
coolest of the
really
old style dragons. in my
yes,
opinion.
the first time they actually did a
So I love this because they use these curved pieces here to make it look like the snake-like.
Yeah, that was the
Asian-
interesting thing about Morrow Dragon is that he's a Western dragon. He's kind of a fusion of a Western and a Chinese style dragon
Mm-hmm.
because he has the serpentine body of a Chinese dragon, but he has wings. Thing in the show, he swims through the air too. He has the fluid flows through the air, being both a ghost and a dragon. That's how he moves mostly, but then his wings are kind of like these ethereal.
They're ghost fire. They're ectoplasm.
Exactly.
Good boy.
So I feel like he technically could have flown without his wings, but the wings just are awesome looking.
Wait, did they give him a
This
little
is the first
goatee?
time that they used fabric. Like,
He has a little goatee.
on the
I never
wings.
realized that.
This is the first time they use fabric?
And
ghosty.
this is the first time that they used this
okay.
kind of style wings, and I think, and then it didn't come back for a while. They had wings like with the Fusion
They
Dragon,
used a lot of these.
or and then like with Ultra Dragon, even is plastic. They didn't bring it back until the Skeleton Dragon.
That is absolutely way better because it allows for more fluid motion and it doesn't have to like get bent or
It does,
crease.
yeah. No, I love.
But
I
it
love
takes away from the Lego-ness of it.
Yeah, but no, I love.
They've been using felt ever since Belleville.
I love the fabric though.
It's not like it hasn't existed before.
So this is Griefbringer, the Skull Sorcerer's Dragon.
Griefbringer.
Clearly the greatest dragon they've ever made,
Yeah, he is just really cool.
design-wise and everything.
Look at that.
Yeah.
And you can squeeze, and then his ribs can open up.
He drops a ball of spiders.
The one
Yes.
thing that's actually
That's the grief. That's he's
Yeah.
bringing the grief right there.
Yes, so that's pretty cool. The fabric wings are incredible. Just the design of them,
Yeah.
looking like they're like rotting flesh.
There's one
Basically, yeah.
good quality that they did with this is that it's a skeleton dragon, and the fact that they were able to get it to look like a skeleton while still having stability and everything and structurally sound.
Yeah.
That was
Those
a
are
huge feat
Yeah.
by Lego.
Yeah.
Good show, Lego. Good
Yep.
show.
And as the Funtail, of course, still my personal favorite
Yes.
feature. And the Skull Sorcerer himself is a really cool minifigure.
That is, yeah.
Yeah, his
Probably
green
one-
skull.
Probably one of the
And-
coolest
yeah.
villain minifigures.
And then the last dragon we have here in the studio. I love saying that, in the studio.
And this is the Ultra Dragon, which, in my opinion, is the most fun to build.
It has a cool play feature too.
Yes, the wings are so cool how they can expand. I found that really neat.
I feel like you could also, like, if you hold it and like do this, you could make it look like it's flying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Although
Yeah,
it looks
can-
kind of weird, it's just like it doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
it's
I liked
true,
about it
but-
is that this is obviously the handle, so that's how you pick it up. And the way they made it very organically takes flight as you pick it
Yeah.
up. What
Yeah.
a cool idea.
Again, good job, Lego designers.
Good show. Good
Super.
show.
Yeah, and just each of the heads. So the Ultra Dragon was in the same set as the Great Devourer, actually.
The original, not this one.
The original Ultra Dragon. So this is actually a reboot of him. I really like the reboot even better because while the original is cool, all the heads they use the same mold and they just have different colors on them. But as you can see, each of the heads with the new Ultra Dragon are completely different.
And each one has
It's
their
a-
element.
And each one is based
Has
on
an
like
accent.
it
Very
has
clearly
accents of their
distinct
elements.
to which
Yeah.
element. It's not like you have to look at the color. They actually have elements that Lego produced. that
Yeah,
makes it look
exactly. Yeah.
accurate.
So I mean, the lightning dragon. I mean, has lightning bolts on it, and
Obviously, that's fire.
yeah. I mean, obviously, this is the fire one. The earth one is very blocky, and the ice dragon with it has crystals on it.
Pretty
Just,
sweet.
Very well designed. Very,
So
very nice.
yes, very fun to build. Yeah.
All right, let's get some big. Let's get some big boys out. So, this is Ninjago City. We have all three of them here today. Destiny's Bounty. That's nothing much. The first Ninjago City was released as a last hurrah set for the movies, correct?
One could say yes.
It's a first and still only, right, modular theme, specific theme from a show. Completely covered up from the back. Each section comes off like a regular modular. Fully super to the nth degree detailed. And it connects to future iterations.
Actually, this one in particular, it's very similar, the building, to Ninjago Season 8 near the end of it. There is a building that they are hiding out in that has this structure, and then
Really?
it looks similar-ish to the design of
So
this.
this was heavily influenced by a building in the show.
Well, this came out after, so I think they influenced the
okay.
building by it.
Got it.
But
Okay.
then again, I don't remember when that came out, if Season 8 was already out or not.
Yeah.
It's interesting that this is made for the Ninjago movie, but yet they put an Easter egg in it into the season.
Yeah. If you have these sets, if you're a really detailed-oriented person, you might notice some subtle changes. This came from that huge haul. Watch it. It's there. There's the card. But the gentleman we got this from modified just about everything he owned slightly. So this one's missing the bonsai tree. There's a few modifications on this. This is different, this whole top. But he just modified some things about every single thing.
They will be fixed and everything.
Yes,
Don't worry.
yeah, we're going to take these apart and inventory and clean them and everything before we ship them out. This one's actually sold.
And this is mine, so don't.
Yeah.
No touching.
This one's not for
limits.
sale.
It was quite the shock in the community to see it happen.
Yeah.
No one was expecting it. Kind of like the Temple of Air Jitsu.
So this did not leak. There's no leaks or rumors.
I think there was rumors of a giant city set, but I think people were thinking it was like Borg Tower or something. And then it was this, which I think people enjoyed more. There's a lot more opportunities for more modulars. And as you can see, LEGO kind of went through with that because they've made 2 more since then. And
this sold enough. As big as and expensive as it is, it sold well enough to continue.
It was
the line.
$300. So, and it was at what, 5,000 something parts, or like slightly under 5,000. So again, that's like
great deal.
6-7 cents a part. Very, very well thought out, well detailed, well designed.
Amazing. And it's got that downtown Tokyo feel, you know, mix of Eastern and
It has
Western.
a lot of old age and new age architecture wise, and it could be considered cyberpunky in some levels.
Yeah, with
that
the
middle level, with all the neon signs and everything. But yeah, it gives an ode to both modern architecture and ancient style, like with the roofings and everything.
And all of these sets have a lot of Easter eggs from the show.
Yes, more so this one because it's from Legacy, not from the Ninjago movie.
Yeah.
So there's more. Although this one, the only one I can think of is probably the signs. The signs always have Easter eggs and everything. But Dareth Dojo, which is on the level down here, that was just a good
I
note.
feel like this one is nothing but Easter eggs.
This one, this one is a lot of Easter eggs.
We talked about this already. Did these appear in the show? Are these specific locales?
None of them did.
Okay.
It was
That's
just
another odd thing, right?
The movie, which the first one was based on, presented a lot of opportunities to make it because Ninjago City was so vast and big, so architecturally outstanding in the movie that LEGO's, I guess, we better make a set or something for it. So then it just became kind of like the LEGO Expert Modular series. And it's just going to keep on going like that because the sets just get more popular as they're more made.
Do you guys have a favorite out of the 3?
Probably that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Least favorite?
Probably the middle one.
A lot of people say the docks. It's the smallest. It's low, which I think is actually good because it changes the sight line. And it's basically just 3 buildings and next to water.
Yeah.
Which is still really cool and still has the same level of detail.
It was a
How much
cheaper
was
price
this?
point. It was $230 retail.
Okay.
The other 2 are $300 or were $300. This one is. These 2 are now more. Don't worry, they've gone up a lot.
What I like about this one, in a sense, even more than these 2, is that you could take very few things off, and it's a traditional Asian building.
Yeah.
The top part, of course, is the most modernized. But
yeah.
man, some of this is just like that. That looks like an old samurai.
Yeah, like it
building.
It looks as if Ninjago City was built a long time ago, and then as time went on, their architecture style has changed, and they just built on top since there was no more room left.
Like real buildings in Asia.
Yeah, exactly.
This one had a really cool minifigure. If you guys have watched the vodcast for themes, I talk about how this one came with a hidden Jackie Chan official minifigure.
I did not know of this.
He had brown, sleeveless, traditional Chinese outfit, and that is exactly what Jackie Chan wore in Young Master, which is one of his early hits. Big, huge hits when he was very young. That character's official LEGO name is Kong Sung Chan. Anyone want to guess what Jackie Chan's birth name is? Kong Sung Chan. They snuck in an official Jackie Chan minifigure in a LEGO Ninjago
That's a good
set.
ode to it then, because he
Oh
worked
my
on the
goodness.
Ninjago
Yes.
prevalently.
Yes, so they have a young Jackie Chan in the Ninjago City docks. And that figure, as of now, as of the recording of this video, is still not expensive. People are selling it for under $6.
Probably because no one knows, because it's such a obscure detail.
So they're an official Jackie Chan figure.
Oh,
Anything we can talk about this? Anything else?
That one is not too much detail.
You know what else I noticed? Everyone comes with an animal.
Yes.
That's funny. They keep upping their game.
They get more detailed as they go on, too.
Yeah.
Actually, this one came with 2.
Tell us about this one.
It's definitely a lot more vibrant.
Yeah.
I think it's since it was not off the Ninjago movie, it was a legacy set, they had more free reign to add more colors and everything. And honestly, it looks a lot better that way because it's like what Ninjago is. It's very vibrant, big, busy city. I mean, this one definitely has the most details out of all of them. You can tell the year gap from when they were made. This one is definitely the better one
Yeah.
based off of detail wise.
This is the biggest and most expensive as well?
No, it's the same price as the original.
Oh, it is?
It is
Okay.
the biggest one, height-wise and part-wise. It has a few hundred parts more.
Yeah, we can't even get the top of the antenna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bit high up there. It has a lot more Easter eggs, especially to other themes. I forget what this one's called, but it has a penguin, the space Arctic sets. I forget what it's called. There's a poster back here for
Ice Planet? Is that
yeah,
what it
Ice
is?
Planet. There's a Space Police poster. More posters. There's an exploration poster, an ode to adventurers. They have a whole museum dedicated to different eras of Ninjago and the season-wise. They have my favorite part, Master Chin's Noodle House. They finally made it in Lego. And then just apartment buildings, ice cream shops, just normal stuff.
Crazy part usage, like the butcher
The
knife
trees are
Yeah.
really cool.
as roof pieces. They have a clown party hat in gold, just as a decorative.
Yeah.
They literally used gaming controllers for the roof. It makes no sense. If
Yeah.
you've seen season 13 Prime Empire, they have the ninjas' little hideout area underneath the tower. Prime Empire, they're playing Prime Empire on the TV. So, I mean, you could just look at this for hours and just find more and more details.
As
And
John pointed out, the game actually is
Yeah.
you can interact with it.
they have a little gaming
An
console
actual
right here
arcade.
that if you move it up and down the little guy moves up and down as if he's jumping.
And I like getting the leaf pieces in new colors. And it came with.
This is a little extra thing they added with the set. It's a little memorial and kind of garden area. It has Zane's statue.
We were kind of thinking that was the legacy part because they kind of pigeonholed because it's 10th anniversary. They made this part of the 10th anniversary by including the Golden Woo, and that we consider that's the 10th anniversary part. That little
I would
add-on,
say so, yeah.
Yeah.
because it comes with the neat little shrine and
And if you haven't seen the show, that's from the 3rd season.
the end of it. Right?
Spoilers, you've probably already seen it though. When Zane sacrifices himself, they commemorate a statue at the end of the season. And that's basically that, but with a little pagoda next to it. And then also they made the Leloid in front of there, finally, with his young hair. They had never done that before after 10 years. And they finally made that hairpiece in tan.
They never even
Never
had
did.
that in the show.
Never
Why?
made
Never.
it. They always gave him the hood.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
That's the first time they've ever made like young Lloyd's hairpiece in that color.
Yeah.
Wow. So standout minifigures. I said Jackie Chan from this, Golden Woo, and the new Lloyd hair for this. Any standout minifigures in this
That one, there really wasn't. I mean, I guess the standout ones were kind of like the Chinese style ones, like this,
the
this
different-
girl right here. She had the red and green like outfit.
I ended
It
up
was
bui her
very
too.
nice.
Again, that figure is not that expensive.
Another
but
one
wait.
that was nice was the kid with the
The
Lloyd shirt, and then also just the
I like the crab guy, the sushi.
Kai that had his just street outfit.
What do you think of all these being on water, even though Ninjago City really isn't
Well,
shown as being on water
so-
in the show that much?
In the movie, which is what these are based upon, we gotta take that in mind at all points. In certain shots at the bottom area, near the coast area and everything, like even in the beginning shot when they're like doing the Good Morning Ninjago City part, it shows boats coming into the city in like a sort of harbor, and then they show different scenes that have water and it's built upon that water. So it's honestly kind of nice too, because you can get that architecture with like bridges and other stuff. And like, for instance, in the back of this one, there's a little like bonsai garden around in the water.
Thank you so much for watching. We hope you enjoy this little trip through Ninjago, getting our perspective, our opinion on the show, the theme as a whole, and of course the awesome sets. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Give us a like, a thumbs up if you care to. And check out our store, of course. The website, Facebook, and telephone number are all in the description. We want to keep doing these vodcasts. We love doing these. These are available as audio formats as well. We're on all the typical Spotify, iHeartRadio, and all those. So download us, give us a listen. Although we do visual things, I kind of imagine these vodcasts are good to have in the background while you're building. So if you guys have nothing else to say,
There is one thing to say.
there is only one thing
There
to
is one
say.
thing to say.
Ninjago! We didn't even practice that, and we were all in sync with that. I think it's because
It was meant to be!
It was meant to be.
Scary ghost dragon.
Coming back here, gonna knock everything over. It's so tight. Good thing I'm flex. I don't like the camera angle.
No! Why?